after the college entrance exam, my boyfriend planned to go hiking with a few childhood friends. I tried to persuade him not to go, as there might be heavy rain. As a result, a landslide occurred, and his childhood friend died on the spot. My boyfriend and I went to university together, and after graduation, we started discussing marriage. On the wedding day, my boyfriend stabbed a knife into my heart, and the blood stained the white veil. If I had gone hiking with Ching Ching back then, she wouldn't have died. I would have done everything in my power to save her. It turns out that his childhood sweetheart was the one he truly cherished. When I opened my eyes again, I had gone back to the time right after the college entrance exams. Juhi, I'm going hiking with a few childhood friends tomorrow. Alright. Have fun. 1. In the milk tea shop, Chinran and I sat facing each other. Juhi, I'm going hiking with a few childhood friends tomorrow. I replied calmly. Alright. Have fun. Chinran nodded and added, then I'll treat you to KFC later, and after that, I'll take you home. No need, I declined. Meeting his gaze, I continued, I have something to tell you. What? Let's break up. Chinran was stunned for a moment, and then felt angry. What are you making a fuss about again? We're going hiking tomorrow. There are both men and women. We've all grown up playing together since childhood, and we're all good friends. I smiled at his explanation. I'm not making a fuss, I just feel like we're not right for each other. Let's break up. Chinran stood up angrily. Fine, break up then. I also think we're not right for each other. You're petty, cowardly, and you don't even care about your appearance. You're simply not good enough for me. Chinran finished speaking and turned to leave. I didn't care about his words. I was just happy in my heart. In this lifetime, I've finally gotten rid of him. 2. Chinran and I started dating in our senior year of high school. In my second year of high school, with my first crush blossoming, I was drawn to his sunny and handsome appearance. Along with that little bit of charm from his good math grades, he had a good impression of me during our second year. And after the start of our third year, he wrote me a love letter, and just like that, we got together. Throughout our entire third year of high school, we studied together. Occasionally went out to have fun during breaks, sipping milk tea and eating fried chicken, dreaming about our future. After the college entrance exam, the first time we met was to estimate our scores and choose universities and majors. The second time we met is today, on this day in my previous life. After he said he was going hiking with his childhood friend, I took out my phone to check the weather forecast again before advising him not to go. The weather has been bad lately, and it's very likely to rain heavily tomorrow and the day after. He decided not to go and told everyone in his childhood friends group chat right in front of me. The next day, his childhood friends went and encountered a heavy rainstorm, which caused a landslide. His childhood sweetheart Wei Ching died on the spot. 2 other childhood friends were seriously injured, and 2 others sustained minor injuries. After that, Chinran never mentioned his childhood friends in front of me again. We went to university together, studying while dating, and our relationship remained stable throughout the 4 years. After graduation, we naturally started discussing marriage. I thought that Chinran and I would stay together for a lifetime, living a simple and happy life like any other ordinary couple. But on the wedding day, Chinran came into the dressing room, suddenly pulled out a knife, and stabbed it directly into my heart. The blood stained the white wedding dress, a shocking sight. He looked at me in surprise and slowly spoke. You were the one who killed Ching Ching. If I had gone hiking with Ching Ching back then, she wouldn't have died. I would have done everything in my power to save her. It was you who stopped me. It's all your fault. I suddenly realized that, in fact, Little Green Plum was the one he truly cherished. Watching him ferociously pull out the knife and stab again, repeating the motion continuously, I slowly closed my eyes and smiled. This time, I didn't persuade, I didn't stop. Go climb the mountain. Go save your childhood sweetheart. In this lifetime, may you two be locked together forever. 3. After I returned home, I said to my parents, I don't want to apply to Jilin University anymore. I want to apply to Xiamen University. In my previous life, Chinran and I both attended Jilin University. Before this day in my previous life, the agreement between Chinran and me was also to apply for Jilin University. And the wish I expressed to my parents was also to apply for Jilin University. Why the sudden change of mind? My mom asked in surprise. I said I recently learned a bit about Xiamen University, made some comparisons, and now I prefer to go to Xiamen University. Okay. Xiamen University is also a good choice. Then I'll help you choose a major, and we'll apply to Xiamen University when the time comes, my dad agreed. I nodded. In this lifetime, I don't know if Qinran will attend Jilin University. Or rather, does he even have the fate to attend? But all of this has nothing to do with me anymore. I want to strive to live well, to stand higher and see the world. The next day, at 7 in the morning, the sun was shining brightly, and the weather was quite pleasant. However, around 10 o'clock, the sky suddenly became overcast with dark clouds, and before long, a violent storm broke out. I saw the news around 2 in the afternoon. A landslide had occurred on a mountain in the suburban county, and some tourists were trapped. Rescue teams had already gone up the mountain to save them. I thought of Qinran and his childhood friends. I didn't speculate or worry. I simply felt that everything that happened was the will of heaven, destined by fate. After that, I didn't pay attention to the news anymore. Around 10 o'clock in the evening, just as I had finished showering and was about to go to sleep, I received a phone call from my good friend Su Tian. Su Tian was my deskmate in our senior year of high school, and she knew about my relationship with Qinran. Juju, hurry, go to the hospital. Your boyfriend is injured, Su Tian said anxiously. She called me and said that he, Qinran, and the others went hiking today. They suddenly encountered a heavy rain that caused a landslide, and they all got injured. She said his injury isn't serious, just a scrape on his forehead, but Qinran was hurt the worst. It seems like one of his legs. Su Tian was too panicked to continue. Perhaps she herself doesn't know the specifics. I know he was in the class next to ours in our senior year of high school. He and Su Tian met during the school sports meet in our freshman year and have always been on good terms. Actually, Qinran's childhood friends are also taking the college entrance exam this year. Some are at our No. 1 high school, while others are at No. 6 and No. 8 high schools. Wei Yiqing is at No. 8 high school. I couldn't resonate with Su Tian's emotions, so I naturally replied, Tian Tian. Qinran and I have broken up. What? She exclaimed in surprise. After a moment, she said calmly, well, then there's no need to go to the hospital. Juju, I'm sorry, I didn't know you two broke up. It's nothing. 5. I heard about Qinran again 3 days later in the class group chat. The class monitor sent a message. Classmates, our classmate Qinran was accidentally injured. I plan to organize a visit to see Qinran tomorrow. If anyone is available or wants to go tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., you can register with me. After reading the message, I decided not to go. But then, Su Tian sent me a private message. Juju, I found out, Qinran's face is disfigured. There's a long scar. And his left leg is crippled. She said that Qinran had his lower leg amputated and will have to rely on crutches from now on. And what's more, Qinran was injured so severely because he was trying to save someone named Wei Yiqing. I heard that when a tree fell, Qinran shielded Wei Yiqing with his own body, and a broken branch scraped across Qinran's face, grazing Wei Yiqing's arm. After reading this information, I felt calm inside, since they are people I don't care about. And I've never seen such a scene. I can't empathize or think too much about it. Then, Su Tian sent another message. Juju, let's go to the hospital tomorrow. Even if you and Qinran have broken up, you're still classmates. He's seriously injured, so it's only right to visit and show some concern. I was just about to reply that I wouldn't go when a new message notification popped up. It was a private message from the class monitor, Juhi. Qinran said he has a few books at your place and asked you to bring them to him tomorrow. I had blocked Qinran's phone number and social media accounts on the day we broke up. Come to think of it, there really are a few of his books at my place. It seems we have no choice but to go tomorrow. The next day, I waited for Su Tian at the bus stop before heading to the hospital entrance with her to meet up with the class monitor and the others, in the private ward. Qinran lay on the hospital bed with gauze wrapped around his left cheek. He was wearing a loose hospital gown, and a faint outline of gauze could be seen on his chest. His left leg was tucked under the blanket, while his right leg was exposed. Wei Yiqing sat by the bedside, feeding Qinran small pieces of apple while chatting with the other students. Hello, I'm Qinran's childhood friend. My name is Wei Yiqing, from No. 8 Middle School. Thank you for coming to see Qinran. Qin Ran is quite seriously injured, and his injuries, at this point, Wei Qing took Qin Ran's hand and his tone grew somber, are because of me, it's all my fault, I'm the one who got Qin Ran involved. Qin Ran was very weak, but at this moment, he still mustered the strength to squeeze Wei Qing's hand back and gently shook his head. It's not your fault, Qing. Protecting you is something I must do. The two of them gazed affectionately at each other in front of all our classmates. Looking very loving and happy, some classmates in the class had known about my past relationship with Qin Ran, while others hadn't, but at this moment, even those who knew could see clearly that Qin Ran and I had already broken up. Your bond is truly strong. This really shows true love in times of hardship. One classmate said. Wei Qing immediately turned around, glanced at me this time, then looked at the classmate who had just spoken and said with a smile, well, after this experience, I really love Qin Ran. When he came out of the operating room earlier, I promised him that I would marry no one else in this lifetime, and we would be together forever. Several classmates nodded and offered their blessings. Qin Ran looked at me, his gaze sharpening a bit. Juhi, where are my books? I reached out my hand, holding 3 books. Qing, go get them for me. Alright. Wei Qing immediately stood up, walked over to me, snatched the 3 books right out of my hands, and took them away. With a fierce expression, she whispered, Qin Ran is mine now, stay away from him from now on. The corners of my mouth lifted slightly as I calmly replied, gladly. She left arrogantly, but before she could sit back down by the hospital bed, 2 people suddenly burst into the ward. They were elders, seemingly a couple. Wei Qing, what are you doing here? The woman, adorned in gold and silver and dressed very luxuriously, scolded Wei Qing. Wei Qing took one look and was dumbfounded. Dad, Mom. The woman stepped forward to grab Wei Qing's arm and pulled her along. Hurry up and leave. What does it matter to you if he's disabled? I'm telling you, yesterday you said you wanted to marry him in the future, and I don't agree. He's disabled, and ugly too. Why would you marry him? To take care of him for the rest of your life. Wei Qing resisted her mother's actions and refused to leave. Mom, I love him, I'm not going. What do you love about a useless man like him? You brat, get out of here right now. The woman dragged Wei Qing away while hitting and scolding her. Qin Ran lay on the hospital bed, struggling weakly and calling out, Qing. The man directly blocked Qin Ran's view of his daughter and raised a hand in warning. Qin family boy, stop pestering my daughter. I'm telling you, I will absolutely not marry my precious daughter to you, in this lifetime. If you think you can marry our Qing, you're dreaming. After saying this, the man left. Qin Ran was emotionally agitated, and as he struggled again, he pulled on his wound, grimacing in pain. Ah, it hurts, he cried out. The nearby classmates panicked. Quick, call a doctor. After our group left the ward, Su Tian and I said goodbye to the class monitor and left first. While waiting for the bus, Su Tian asked me, Ju, Qin Ran and that Wei Qing got together after you broke up, right? Probably. Actually, I don't know either. In my previous life, I met Wei Qing twice. The first time was shortly after Qin Ran and I started dating. One weekend, Qin Ran took me, Ji, and Wei Qing out for a meal, and that's how I got to know her. The second time was during the winter break of our senior year of high school, on Valentine's Day, when Qin Ran invited me out for pizza. Wei Qing came along as well. As for other matters, Qin Ran rarely mentioned Wei Qing in front of me, so I didn't know much about it. 6. After the college entrance exam results came out, my score differed by 6 points from my earlier estimate. The gap wasn't significant, so after discussing with my parents, we decided to list Xiamen University as my first choice. On the day I submitted my application, Su Tian asked to meet with me. I went to the dessert shop on the pedestrian street to find Su Tian when I unexpectedly ran into Wei Qing. Wei Qing was holding 3 cups of milk tea in his hands. When he saw me, he was first surprised. Then a smile curled at the corner of his mouth as he walked toward me. Juhi, you've finished filling out your college applications, right? Wei Qing asked me arrogantly. I didn't want to answer. Is there something you need? Wei Qing's expression remained unchanged. I heard from Qin Ran that you want to apply to Jilin University. What a pity. Qin Ran won't be applying to Jilin University anymore. I didn't do well on the exams, so I applied to a private undergraduate college in the provincial capital, to be with me. Chin Ran applied to the University of Science and Technology next to my school, although the University of Science and Technology isn't as good as Jilin University. Chin Ran and I can see each other every day for the next 4 years, and I can often take care of him. For us, it's quite suitable. At this point, Wei Qing asked, Juhi, are you envious? I smiled. Are you sure you won't marry anyone but Chin Ran? I asked. Wei Qing didn't expect my sudden question. After a moment's pause, she firmly replied, I'm sure. I love Chin Ran very much. Although he has scars on his face and will need to walk with a cane in the future, I don't care. I love him for who he is. Moreover, the doctor said that once Chin Ran's facial scars have healed a bit, he can undergo cosmetic repair surgery later on. It's possible the scars could completely disappear. I nodded, acknowledging Wei Qing's words. Then let me know when you two get married. By then, I might even feel envious, I said. In this life, my wish is to lock them together forever. If they get married, I will be very satisfied. Ignoring Wei Qing, I turned and walked away. Wei Qing shouted from behind, You just wait, I will make you see that Chin Ran and I are a match made in heaven. 7. After receiving the admission letter from Xiamen University, my mom and I went on a trip for half a month. When I returned, I stayed at my uncle's house for a while. Helping my grandmother with some small household chores and washing her clothes, she cooked many delicious meals for me. In September, I stepped through the gate of Xiamen University and began my college life. Meeting new classmates and teachers, adapting to university life. This past half year, I've been very busy, but also very happy. During the spring festival, I went out to buy things before the new year and unexpectedly ran into Chin Ran. The scar on his face was quite noticeable. But it wasn't frightening. He looked at me for a moment, then leaning on his cane, limped toward me. When did you come back? He asked. Last week, I replied indifferently. He suddenly chuckled softly. A hint of disdain in his eyes. How's Jilin University? Do you feel lonely there all by yourself? I'm not at Jilin University. Chin Ran looked a bit embarrassed. Then he asked, Which school are you at then? I didn't answer. It's none of your business. By now, Chin Ran should have noticed my coldness and distance. And his anger flared up. Juhi, you're still so petty. I just don't love you anymore and got together with Qingqing. Is it really necessary for you to act like this? I was speechless at his criticism and laughed. Chin Ran continued. Juhi, I'm telling you, this kind of behavior shows a lack of character. And looking at you now, you're still as cowardly as before. You must be very lonely at university and not doing well. I couldn't be bothered to argue with him. So I just smiled and nodded, playing along. Unexpectedly, my reaction made Chin Ran push his luck even further. He boasted. Both Qingqing and I are studying at universities in the provincial capital. Our schools are right next to each other, very close. My legs aren't very convenient, so my parents rented an apartment for me off campus. Qingqing lives with me. She takes care of me every day and even cooks for me. Occasionally, I tutor her and explain problems. We're doing very well. Chin Ran suddenly sighed with emotion. After being with Qingqing, I finally understood what happiness is and what it means to meet the right person. Juhi, you and Qingqing really can't compare at all. After the sarcasm, Chin Ran stepped forward and suddenly asked, Do you envy the life Qingqing and I have? I smiled and retorted, My skin is flawless, my limbs are intact. Do you envy that? Instantly, Chin Ran's face tightened. Satisfied, I turned and left. 8. My college life has been very fulfilling. With studying on campus and working part-time during holidays, because of my excellent academic performance in my major, several professors in my major courses remembered me and recommended me for some large professional lectures and practical investigations. At the same time, I seized many opportunities for campus activities and learning resources to study and gain exposure. In the second semester of my junior year, my roommate Zhao Yang commented, Juhi, your knowledge, expertise, and abilities are the strongest in our dorm. I humbly responded with a no. This summer vacation, I went back home. During the hot summer days, there were very few people in the small town during the daytime, but it was crowded at night. The night market was bustling, and on the square, people were strolling, dancing, And there were many children's play activities. That evening, while I was taking a walk with my mom on the square, I saw Qin Ran and Wei Qing. They were not far ahead of me. But they weren't standing together. Qing, don't walk so fast, wait for me, Qin Ran said while limping to catch up with Wei Qing. Wei Qing walked a few steps before suddenly stopping and turning around. If you can't walk, you shouldn't have come out. Look at you, you're even worse off than an old man. Qin Ran walked up to Wei Qing, his face looking sinister under the streetlight. Do you dislike me now? Wei Qing immediately glanced around awkwardly before replying. No, I just feel upset. I didn't want to come out today, but you insisted, so I got a little irritable. Wei Qing said this without ever looking at Qin Ran. Qin Ran reached out a hand, placing it on Wei Qing's shoulder, and began to comfort her. All right, it was my fault. I wanted to bring you out to buy something. My mom gave me 1,000 yuan this afternoon, and I want to buy you a dress. Wei Qing suddenly looked up. Really? Qin Ran nodded. Wei Qing immediately happily hugged Qin Ran. Qin Ran, you're the best. I love you, baby. I love you too. After holding each other for a moment, Wei Qing added, let's go check out the square over there. They sell skirts there. Although they're all street stalls, a few of them have really nice skirt designs. Let's go pick some out. Okay, let's go. Watching their receding figures walking side by side, I smiled. Xiaohe, what are you smiling about? My mom asked me. I saw 2 classmates. They've been in a relationship for several years and are still doing well. I replied. My mom immediately smiled too. That kind of bond is very stable. They're classmates and know each other inside out. They're bound to get married in the future. Yeah, I agreed. 9. In my senior year, I started my internship. During the spring recruitment season the following year, Zhao Yang and I went to the campus job fair. When I saw the name of a certain company, I stood there, unable to snap out of it for a long time. This company was a Fortune 500 enterprise, a major corporation. In my previous life, after Qin Ran and I graduated, we both worked at this company. I had only been working for just over 2 years when I was killed by Qin Ran. This company offers excellent benefits and has work locations in several major cities, with a first-class office environment and a very positive work atmosphere. However, in this life, I have no intention of choosing this company. It's just that at this moment, I'm surprised to see it. After I snapped back to reality, Zhao Yang asked me, Juhi, do you want to apply for a job at this company? I shook my head. No. Zhao Yang didn't think much of it either. Then let's look at some others. Amham. In the end, Zhao Yang and I chose a company in Shenzhen. After receiving approval from the company's representative, we confirmed the specific interview time, in May. Zhao Yang and I finally received our interview results, and both of us were hired. Arriving in Shenzhen, I adapted to the city's environment and settled into my new job. 3 months later, Zhao Yang and I successfully passed our probation period and began working normally. That day, just after clocking out from overtime work, I received a phone call from Su Tian. Juju, are you free? I've got some gossip to share with you. I'm free, go ahead. It takes me over 10 minutes to walk from the work area to the living area, perfect for a chat. He came to Shanghai on a business trip. I had dinner with him tonight and found out something. Qin Ran and Wei Qing broke up. I was taken aback for a second. But then I thought about it and realized there was nothing I wanted to say. Fortunately, Su Tian continued over there. They lived together for over 4 years and accumulated a lot of conflicts. Wei Qing looked down on Qin Ran. Thinking he was useless, couldn't do much at home, and would have trouble finding a job in the future, he felt Qin Ran couldn't be relied on for a lifetime, so he didn't want to be with him anymore. By the way, he also mentioned that Wei Qing complained in front of him, saying that she feels sick whenever she sees Qin Ran now. As for Qin Ran, although he really likes Wei Qing, his emotional state is unstable due to his inferiority complex and fear of losing her. He's always restless and constantly suspicious of Wei Qing. Once during an argument with Wei Qing, he even broke her arm. At that time, Wei Qing was crying in the hospital and proposed breaking up, but Qin Ran knelt down to apologize, and they got back together. Hearing this, I suddenly laughed. How could Qin Ran treat his beloved like this? Su Tian hadn't finished speaking yet. And also, Wei Qing has had 6 abortions for Qin Ran over the past 4 years. Her parents don't know about any of this. I listened in silence. Su Tian continued with emotion. I remember back in the hospital, Wei Yiqing vowed that she would marry no one but Qin Ran. Who would have thought it would turn out like this? And Qin Ran became disabled because of Wei Yiqing. Now, with this situation, Qin Ran has suffered a huge loss. I don't think so, because this is what Qin Ran wanted, in my previous life. Qin Ran always held a grudge against me and endured it for so long before showing it. By killing me on the wedding day, he probably wanted to give Wei Yiqing a gift. Right, the gift was my life. Now, I have fulfilled his wish. He managed to save Wei Yiqing as he wished. And everything that followed was likely what he desired. 10. That year, I only returned home the day before the Spring Festival, on the 5th day of the Lunar New Year, while my family was hosting guests. My uncle came to our house and told us something. Yesterday, there was a fight between two families in our jurisdiction. My uncle is a local police officer and is on duty every year. Today happens to be the first day of his adjusted leave. My aunt was surprised. It's the middle of the New Year celebrations. A time of joy and festivity. Why would they fight? My uncle said. It's because of the marriage arrangements for their two children. The child in that family is disabled. And it seems the disability was caused by saving the daughter of another family. Later, the two children fell in love while in college but broke up after graduation. However, the boy's family felt the girl owed their son, and since the girl had promised to marry him back then, they went to the girl's family to ask about it. Uncle, what happened next? The cousin from the aunt's family listened attentively. The girl's family was certainly unwilling to marry their daughter to a disabled person, so they disagreed and drove them away. The two families argued for a while, and then the girl's mother was the first to hit the boy's mother. The boy, unable to bear it, then hit the girl's mother, and the girl hit the boy. That's how the fight started. What happened in the end? My mom was now also worked up and asked. The boy's mother and the girl's mother were both injured. And the boy's father fell down the stairs and is still unconscious to this day. So how are you handling it? The aunt asked. Neighborhood disputes don't get resolved quickly. For now, we've arranged for people to stay at the hospital with both the man's family and the woman's family, waiting for the older brother to wake up first. The other injured people have already had their wounds treated and are not in serious condition. No one spoke further, and then the uncle spoke again. Oh, that boy's family is quite pitiful too. They only have one child, and he's disabled. I heard he did quite well in the college entrance exam back then, but later enrolled in an average university. After graduation, finding a job hasn't been going smoothly for him either. His own abilities aren't strong, and his academic background and major aren't that great either. It seems he's been unemployed at home for over half a year now. Now even his girlfriend has left him. I chatted with him for a bit yesterday and felt he might be a bit mentally unstable, but when he talks about past events, he's very clear, so it's hard to judge. The surroundings were completely quiet. My uncle suddenly remembered something and looked at me. By the way, that girl is the same age as Xiaohe. Could she be Xiaohe's classmate? That girl's name is, my uncle thought for a moment, Wei Yiqing. Xiaohe, is she your classmate? No, I shook my head. Indeed, Wei Yiqing is not my classmate. The topic shifted away from me, and after a few sighs and brief conversations, the relatives didn't say much more. 11. After the new year, I went back to work and became busy again. I worked diligently and responsibly, and by April, I had the top performance in my department. The director praised me during a meeting, and I received an additional bonus as a benefit. My work gradually became outstanding. And Zhao Yang, in another department, also had good work performance. This busy life continued until September, when Zhao Yang and I suddenly had the idea of starting a business. After some serious communication, we decided to start a business. We resigned from our jobs at the big company and began our entrepreneurial journey in Shenzhen. This spring festival, I didn't go home. On New Year's Eve, Zhao Yang and I had hot pot in our rented apartment, wishing for a prosperous year ahead. On the first and second days of the Lunar New Year, Zhao Yang and I slept in for 2 full days. By the third day, we were already out conducting market research. The entrepreneurial journey was tough, but we never gave up and kept striving. One day in April, I returned to my rented apartment at 1 in the morning. After washing up and lying in bed, I checked the unread messages from the day and noticed an unfamiliar WeChat contact name. Liu Ziki. I thought for a while before remembering that he was my high school classmate. It seemed that during one of the New Year holidays in college, I went to my uncle's house to visit relatives and ran into Liu Ziki. After chatting for a bit, we exchanged WeChat contacts, but over all these years, we had never actually spoken. Liu Ziki asked me, "Juhi, what's your phone number?" I was surprised why he suddenly asked for my phone number. After thinking for a moment, I didn't reply with the number but instead asked, "Is there something you need?" It wasn't until the next afternoon that I saw Liu Zik's reply, "Chin Ran is looking for you. He wants your phone number." I suddenly felt a strong dislike for Liu Zik, blocked and deleted with a backhand. A week later, Su Tian sent me a message, "Juju, call me to chat when you're free." I roughly planned my time and replied, "I'll call you around 11 p.m. at night." I returned to my rented apartment after 10 o'clock. After washing up and lying in bed, I made a voice call to Su Tian and chatted with her. After we finished catching up on each other's recent lives, Su Tian said, "Juju, I actually wanted to tell you something." "Sure, go ahead." "Chin Ran seems to be looking for you lately." I was momentarily surprised, but not entirely shocked. Su Tian continued, "A couple of days ago, he asked me for your phone number. I asked him why, and he said Chin Ran wanted to contact you. I didn't give it to him. Today, he kept messaging me from time to time, saying that Chin Ran has been pestering him. As Chin Ran's childhood friend, he's in a difficult position and hopes I'll give him your contact information. But I still didn't give it to him." Su Tian then said with disdain, "You and Chin Ran have been over for a long time. Why is he still looking for you?" I am very satisfied with Su Tian's approach and responded, "Yes. That's right, Tian, don't give it to him. I don't want to have any connection with him for the rest of my life." "Yes, I won't give it to him," Su Tian said firmly. Then, Su Tian shared what she had recently learned. Chin Ran is in a pretty miserable state now, and he still pesters Wei Yiqing from time to time. But Wei Yiqing is too proud to even acknowledge Chin Ran. Moreover, Chin Ran's father has become a vegetable, and their family is now living on welfare. "Oh." I responded indifferently, just to show I'd heard. Su Tian also moved on after the conversation. After all, Chin Ran was just an acquaintance to both Su Tian and me. 12. I was still working frantically on my career. By the end of the year, our company finally turned a profit. In December, after Zhao Yang and I paid the 3 employees, covered the office rent, and handled all the expenses, we looked at the remaining balance in the account and cried, "Next year, we will continue to work hard, and the company will thrive." In July, we moved into an office building to work. By October, the company's staff had exceeded 50 people, and I started being called General Manager Ju by my colleagues. Zhao Yang and I were still very busy, handling company matters, meeting with clients, attending suitable business conferences and banquets, all to seek cooperation opportunities for our company. In December, I attended a business exhibition and met a senior alumnus from Xiamen University. His name is Shen Yu, 3 grades ahead of me, and he is the owner of a listed company. We hit it off after talking and exchanged contact information. After that, I often started asking him for advice on various matters and occasionally arranged to meet up for chats, since our companies were not far apart, both located in the same district. Days passed like this, and my mind was solely focused on work, with the only goal of making my company grow stronger. On this day, while returning to Shenzhen from a business trip in Beijing, I sat in the waiting lounge and logged into my QQ account, which I hadn't accessed in a long time. As soon as I went online, a notification appeared indicating a message. Upon closer inspection, I realized it was a temporary chat message from Chin Ran. It suddenly dawned on me that both Chin Ran and I were in the high school classmates group chat. I clicked open the dialog box and began reading. "Juhi, are you there? I miss you so much. Where are you now? I want to come find you. I regret our breakup. Do you have a boyfriend now? Can we still be together? I have nothing to do with Wei Yiqing now. I don't love Wei Yiqing at all. She is just a cheap woman, fickle and unfaithful. I hate her to death. I wish she could never have children in her lifetime. Juhi, have you seen the message? Can you reply to me? My dear, I really miss you so much. I want to be with you and live a good life together." I read it and laughed. Upon closer inspection, these messages were sent last November, which is already more than half a year ago. I didn't reply to any of them, exited the chat, and then directly deactivated my QQ account. 2 months later, our company's net profit for that month reached 2 million. Zhao Yang and I were thrilled and held a grand team-building dinner. I also invited Shenyu to this dinner because he is my mentor at work and he introduced me to several contacts, among them. I signed cooperation contracts with 2 senior colleagues' companies, and the collaboration is currently progressing smoothly. Everyone ate well and had a great time. The dinner didn't end until 2 a.m. After all the colleagues left, Zhao Yang also left first, and Shenyu drove me back to my apartment. Zhao Yang and I don't live together now. Last year, her mother came to Shenzhen, so she rented a place to live with her family. When Shenyu's car stopped at the entrance of my apartment complex, I thanked him and was about to get out when he grabbed my arm. Juhi, I have something to say to you. I looked at him, signaling for him to continue. I like you. Can we be together? A simple and straightforward confession, and I was instantly captivated, because ever since I met Shenyu, I've had a very good impression of him. He's intelligent, wise, with strong decision-making and judgment skills, and he also has high emotional intelligence when interacting with others. He's an outstanding person. At that moment, I felt happy and wanted to say yes, to be with him. But then I thought about the company. It hasn't fully stabilized yet, and Zhao Yang and I haven't achieved our goals. Would getting into a relationship affect our work? Just as I was hesitating in silence, Shenyu seemed to see through my thoughts and spoke again. Don't worry about work, I'll stay with you and keep moving toward greater heights. You can still do whatever you want to do, as you wish. Now, I have no more worries. I smiled and took the initiative to reach out, hugging Shenyu, and whispered in his ear, okay, my boyfriend. That night, Shenyu stayed over at my small apartment, 13. At the end of the year, I bought a house in Shenzhen, during the Spring Festival. When I returned to my hometown for the new year, I arranged to meet Su Tian. The commercial street was bustling with activity, and Su Tian and I walked arm in arm, chatting as we strolled. Suddenly, both of us spotted Wei Yiqing not far away. Wei Yiqing was wearing a red coat, holding hands with a man, walking and laughing as if they were talking about something happy, her smile radiant. I felt nothing inside and didn't want to pay any more attention to her. Just as I was about to look away, a figure suddenly appeared in my line of sight. In what seemed like a 2-second gap, that black figure rushed in front of Wei Yiqing. You bitch, I let you live a good life, and you get engaged to another man. Go to hell. The man in the black coat pulled out a dagger and stabbed fiercely at Wei Yiqing. You're the one who brought me to this state, and you still think you can live a good life. Dream on, you bitch, die, die. I really regret saving you back then. I regret it to death. As Wei Yiqing's figure gradually fell, Su Tian and I finally saw the man's face clearly. It was Qinran, and the next second, Qinran suddenly saw me. Juhi, you should die too. Why didn't you stop me back then? You're partly responsible for what I've become. Go die with this bitch. Qinran finished speaking and, holding the knife, staggered toward me. His strides with the cane were large, and his lurching steps caused his body to sway violently. I had been shocked that he was also reborn. But as I came to my senses, I felt Su Tian pulling me backward. Oh my god, he's gone crazy, Su Tian said in a panic. Juju, hurry, be careful. I followed Su Tian back for a while, watching Qinran get closer, when suddenly, my thoughts changed. Tian, you go, get far away. After saying this, I broke free from Su Tian's hand. Just as Qinran stood in front of me and swung a knife, I directly raised my foot and kicked his vital spot. Ah! Qinran cried out in pain, then collapsed weakly to the ground. The knife fell to the ground. I rushed forward, slapped Qinran hard across the face twice, then picked up the knife and held it against his neck. Why should I try to persuade you? Isn't this exactly what you wanted? Qinran suddenly exclaimed in surprise. You too? Seeing the look of sudden realization on his face, I thought of my past life and really wanted to kill him. But it's not worth ruining my life over this scum. I love my parents. And I love Shenyu. After the police arrived, I handed the knife to them and explained what had just happened. After the police took statements at the scene, Su Tian and I left. 2 days later, I received a phone call from Su Tian. Juju, Wei Yiqing is dead, and Qinran will go to prison. Wei Yiqing was already dead when he was taken to the hospital that day. Qin Ran has been at the police station the whole time. The police will handle the matter according to the law, I responded. 14. 2 years later, I bought a house in Australia. In June of that year, Shen Yu and I held our wedding in Ireland. Witnessed by family and friends, I was moved to tears as I watched the man before me slip the ring onto my finger. After returning to Shenzhen, Shen Yu and I continued to be busy with work. The following year, my company expanded once again, and a Wuhan branch was established. Zhao Yang went there first to manage it for 2 years before handing it over to a professional manager. I heard about Qin Ran again 2 years later, when Su Tian held the first birthday party for her daughter in our hometown. I went back and met He Ji and a few other classmates. While we were all chatting together, He Ji brought up Qin Ran. Qin Ran died the year before last. He was bullied in prison and later developed a mental disorder. Once, when the prison guards weren't paying attention, he deliberately crashed into a sharp iron plate and committed suicide. The classmates sighed with pity after hearing this. I remained expressionless and said nothing. A week after returning to Shenzhen, I felt unwell and went to the hospital for a checkup, only to discover that I was pregnant. Shen Yu found out and immediately returned that night. Even though he was originally scheduled to be on a business trip in Hong Kong for a week, he held my hand and said, "Honey, whatever requests or plans you have from now on, just let me know." I looked at him and said, "I just want to work normally and take my maternity leave as usual." "All right," he nodded, "then I'll resign and take you to and from work every day, and take care of you at home." I understand that when he mentioned resigning, he meant hiring a professional manager to run the company for him. This way, he wouldn't have to handle every little thing personally and could focus only on important matters. "Sure," I replied with a smile. Having a soulmate is truly wonderful.